Hey, y'all, picture this. You find your dream home, a little slice of heaven tucked away in the rolling hills of rural Tennessee, far from the noise of city life, where you can breathe easy and live on your terms. Then some HOA tyrant decides your freedom's an eyesore and tries to lock you out of your damn driveway. That's exactly what happened to me, Nate Thompson, and my wife, Lily, when we crossed paths with Deborah Wheeler, the queen bee of the Willow Creek Estates HOA. This is the story of how our quiet country dream turned into a battle for our home, our rights, and a whole lot of sanity. Grab a coffee, 'cause it's a wild ride. We were just a couple of 30-somethings, me a mechanic who loves tinkering with old muscle cars, Lily a baker with a knack for turning our backyard into a jungle of tomatoes and wildflowers. We'd been renting in Nashville, saving every penny, when we found this perfect 3-acre lot in Rutherford County. It was a fixer-upper farmhouse. Nothing fancy, peeling paint, creaky porch, but it had a long gravel driveway, a barn I could turn into my garage, and enough space for Lily to grow enough zucchini to feed the whole county. Best part? It wasn't in any HOA. We double-checked the deed, had our realtor triple-check, 'cause we'd heard horror stories about HOAs fining folks for the wrong shade of mailbox. Our place was free and clear, a little island of independence next to Willow Creek. This pristine neighborhood of McMansions with lawns so perfect they looked like golf courses. For the first month, life was golden. I'd spend evenings in the barn, wrenching on a '67 Mustang, while Lily planted her garden, humming old country tunes. We'd sit on the porch at dusk, sipping sweet tea, watching fireflies dance across the fields. Then we started noticing her Deborah Wheeler. She'd park her shiny Lexus at the end of our driveway, arms crossed, staring at our place like it personally offended her. Deborah was the HOA president, a woman in her 50s with a perm so tight it looked like it hurt and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Word around town was she ran Willow Creek like her own personal fiefdom, handing out fines for unapproved birdhouses or grass half an inch too long. To her, our weathered farmhouse, with its rusty mailbox and wildflower patches, was a blight on her perfect community. At first, we laughed it off. "She's just nosy," I'd say, waving as she drove by, real slow, like she was casing the joint. Lily wasn't so sure-she'd catch Deborah peering over the fence, scribbling notes, and it gave her the creeps. We just wanted to be left alone, you know? We weren't bothering anybody, just living our lives. But Deborah had other plans. One day, I found a letter in our mailbox, all official on Willow Creek HOA letterhead, signed by Her Majesty herself. It said our unkempt property was disrupting the community's aesthetic harmony and suggested we voluntarily comply with their rules: paint the house, mow the wildflowers, shut down my noisy garage operation. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my beer. "Babe," I called to Lily, "this lady thinks she owns us." We weren't in the HOA, so I wrote back, real polite, attached a copy of our deed, and dropped it at her doorstep, thinking that'd be the end of it. Boy, was I wrong. Deborah didn't like being told no. A week later, another letter showed up, this one meaner, accusing us of violating community standards and threatening fines for my industrial activities and Lily's unsightly garden. Unsightly. Lily's garden was the prettiest thing for miles. I fired back another letter, firmer this time, telling her to back off. That's when things got weird. One morning, Lily caught some guy snapping photos of our barn from the road, said he was inspecting for the HOA, then bolted when she asked questions. Another time, I found footprints in the mud near our garden after a rain, too small to be mine. Then, one Saturday, I'm in the barn, elbow deep in engine grease, when I look up and there's Deborah, nose pressed against the window, staring like she's auditing my soul. I stormed outside. "What the hell are you doing on my property?" I snapped. She didn't even blink. "Routine community inspection," she said, all prim, like she was the sheriff. "We've had complaints about this structure." I was dumbfounded. "This ain't Willow Creek, Deborah. You've got no business here. Get off my land." Her eyes narrowed. "We'll see about that," she hissed and marched off. That night, I ordered a set of security cameras. Something told me this wasn't over. For a bit, it was quiet, too quiet. We figured maybe Deborah got the hint. Then, one weekend, we took a quick trip to visit Lily's folks in Chattanooga. We got back Sunday evening, tired but happy, only to find our driveway blocked by a massive wrought iron gate, padlocked shut, with a sign, Willow Creek Estates, HOA, authorized access only. I slammed on the brakes, my jaw on the floor. What in the actual hell? I muttered. Lily's face went white. Nate, how can they block our driveway? Before I could answer, Deborah sauntered over from her car, parked nearby, smirking like she'd won the lottery. Like the new addition, she said, gesturing at the gate. We're just securing our community. I was fuming. This is our driveway, Deborah. Move this thing. Now. She clasped her hands, all fake sweet. Oh, Nate, after reviewing some updated surveys, it turns out this road belongs to Willow Creek. But don't worry, you can join the HOA, and the gate opens for free. Or, she handed me an invoice. $50 per entry. Your choice. I was seeing red. This is our land, and you know it. These papers are bullshit. She shrugged. Prove it. Until then, the gate stays. She tossed me a folder of official documents and walked off. I crumpled the invoice in my fist, ready to lose it, but Lily grabbed my arm. Let's just walk home, Nate. We'll figure this out. That night, I dug through our files and found our deed clear as day. The driveway was ours. I called our lawyer, Tom, who confirmed it by morning. The gate was illegal, Deborah's surveys were nonsense, and we had every right to tear it down. Tom said he'd file paperwork, but I wasn't waiting. I called my buddy Jake, who runs a construction crew and owns a bulldozer. Jake, I said, want to help me take out some trash? He was there by noon, bulldozer in tow. As Jake fired it up, Deborah's hired security guy started panicking, calling her. Sure enough, she screeched up in her Lexus, face like a thunderstorm. What do you think you're doing? She yelled, storming toward me. I held up my deed. Taking down your illegal gate, Deborah. This is my road. She waved her folder. This is HOA property, and I'll have you arrested. I didn't budge. Your papers are fake, and I've got the law on my side. Move, or this gate's coming down with you in front of it. Her eyes widened as Jake revved the bulldozer. She jumped aside, screaming, You'll pay for this. With one glorious crunch, the gate crumpled like tinfoil. Deborah was apoplectic, filming me, yelling about lawsuits. I just held up my deed and smiled. Cops showed up 15 minutes later. Deborah ran to them, shoving her phone in their faces, calling me a vandal. I handed over my deed, Tom's letter, and camera footage of the gate going up while we were gone. The officers didn't mess around. Ma'am, one said to Deborah, this road's his. The gate was illegal. You're lucky he's not pressing charges. Deborah lost it, screaming, You're all idiots, and get this, shoved an officer. Big mistake. They cuffed her on the spot for assault. As they hauled her away, still ranting, I felt this mix of relief and exhaustion. The gate was gone, but I knew Deborah wasn't done. Sure enough, after she got out, she came at us harder lawsuits, letters claiming we owed her $20,000 for damages, even HOA meetings where she called me a threat to civilized society. But her lies caught up with her. The prosecutor had her on assault, fraud for those fake surveys, and trespassing. Other Willow Creek folks came forward, tired of her tyranny, with their own stories. In court, her whole poor victim act fell apart. She got 2 years in prison, plus restitution to us and others she'd bullied. Willow Creek's HOA got a makeover, new board, new rules, no more Deborahs. We fixed our driveway, put up our gate, steel gate, keypad, the works. Lily's garden is thriving, and I'm back in my car. But the scars are there. We fought for our home, our peace, and we won, but it cost us months of stress. The crazy part? This all started because one woman couldn't stand us living free. It's got me wondering how many folks out there are dealing with their Deborahs, HOAs, or otherwise, trying to control what's not theirs. If you've got a story like this, or an opinion on who was right or wrong here, drop it in the comments. I'm curious, would you have bulldozed that gate, or played it differently? Hit that like button, share this with someone who'd get a kick out of it, and let's keep this conversation going.